What's up, my good people? This is your girl, Ms. Good News, right here with WLJZ 107.1 FM. Y'all already know how we do when we come through. We show up, and we definitely show out. Y'all, listen, we have two special guests here. So, Ms. Good News, we're going to be quiet for a little bit, and I'm going to let Brock Morgan, an alum from Howard University, speak as he interviews our very own coach right here, Sean Gilbert from Livingstone College. Let them get into it. How you doing, Brock?
I'm doing good. Good morning. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Like you said, I'm here with Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Just all right?
I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful.
That's a good way to be. So, would you just introduce yourself, talk to everybody?
The head football coach at Livingstone College, Coach Sean Gilbert. I'm going into my 5th year here coaching. We had our first winning season last year at 6-4. We were 4-6, 4-6, and 1-9 my initial year. So growing the program and really excited about the upcoming year.
Okay, and you just kind of touched on my first question a little bit. So how was you all spring, and what changes have you noticed in this roster?
Spring, every year spring has been a little different for us, especially in an enrollment-driven school and dealing with the curves and pivoting. This past spring was probably our most in-depth in terms of our roster and being able to develop guys and having more than 6 offensive linemen in a spring practice. So we were able to get through spring. It was a long spring because it was a teaching period where we were teaching a lot of the fundamentals and helping guys to understand how to grow in their football IQ and know that the game, it happens before it's played. So spring was pretty good for us, so we're excited about what we got going on in the fall. We're bringing in some new faces and new guys. You wouldn't know any of them, so I don't really go into the depth of who's new or not because they're still all in the proving ground, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse in that sense. So we'll be able to do a follow-up in a few weeks, and I'll be able to really tell you about some of the guys.
And then you talked about having to pivot a little bit. What do you feel like was your greatest pivot in the spring? Obviously the spring's a little bit different. Your numbers are down. It's more of a teaching period. So what was your greatest pivot this year?
Well, I think we kind of stretched spring out a little bit more, as opposed to we usually ran our 15 days, got in and got out because of numbers. And this year we kind of spaced it out a little bit more in our days and how we managed our teachings and really taking time with our players to help them, just like I said, get more awareness to understand how to read and react and play ahead of the game. And if you don't have your awareness, if your awareness is not up, then you're waiting for a play to happen, which means you're playing from behind.
Right. So it's no secret that recruiting is the lifeblood of a college football program. Are there any guys in this incoming class that you believe can be day one impact players?
Hard to say. We've been developing our guys, really started getting keepers probably in 2023. So a lot of our returners, and most of those guys probably more on the defensive side, but they've been journeymen, and so it's really difficult trying to pinpoint the individuals. We're still a young football team, and in some of my returners, I do have All-American Kevin Larkins, who should be returning, Davion Watkins, who's All-Conference 2 years in a row. And then we have some incoming guys that we do think can have an impact, but like I said, it's just I don't want to go into detail on those guys and their names and things like that, because they're in the proving ground. So,
gotcha. And then, so for all the recruits out there, what is the most important aspect that you look for in the recruiting process?
Well, first of all, what we try to find is the right attitude. I can say this humbly, that in the course of the way we recruit is not traditional to what everyone else does. My school functions a little bit different, so trying to find those guys that fit the mold of what we have here at Livingstone College. So we are an opportunity school in terms of getting guys that want to come in here and showcase their talent, and we're developing. We develop guys, so we don't really get to cherry pick at best talent. we have to coach and manage talent. So it's not an easy road. It takes time, it's tedious, and we've gotten better with it over the years, and we've gotten a little bit better talent. So we're excited about the returners we have and the recruits that are coming in.
Okay, and then you just kind of touched on my next question a little bit too. You said that you guys are not a traditional program. So how has NIL and the transfer portal impacted the program?
We're a Division II school, first of all, so resources are different. Just like anything, we can't offer anybody a full ride on scholarship. I mean, Division II doesn't provide that. So let alone at a Division I school where you can offer a full ride, plus you can offer them some type of honorarium or give them some type of pay or stipend. We don't do it. We don't have that at our Division II schools. Not to say that it's not something that can't happen, but it takes time to put those things together. And so the impact of that, I would say that it's kind of helped us in terms of getting some other talent because of the way the portal has shifted. And with rosters being reduced to 85 at the Division I level where they would keep more guys, those guys have to now get into the portal. And so from FBS to FCS down to Division II, it boded well for us and getting a little bit better talent.
And you talked about some of those shifts that has now happened in college football. Obviously, you turn the clock back 10 years from now, college football is completely different. So do you feel these changes to be positive or negative?
Well, I think in anything there's positives and negatives in it. I mean, if the ref miss a call and they worked on your behalf, you feel good about that. But if you're on the other side of that and they missed a call, you're upset about it. So the positives and negatives on both sides. But for us, we're in the mix, man. We're in the mix of what's going on.
Okay, and then you're coming into your second year, correct?
Fifth
year, coming into your fifth year. So why do you believe you're the best coach to continue to lead Livingstone forward?
Well, it's not about being the best coach. It's about being the right coach. So being in the right place at the right time. And for me, this is a great road. There's a really huge testimony that goes behind me coming to Livingstone College and having a passion to build a program from the bottom up. And so an institution like ours is needed in terms of having a foundation, especially for what Livingstone wants to do over the next 10 years and being competitive in and out of athletics.
Right. And you mentioned this gentleman a little bit earlier in the interview. Sophomore defensive lineman Davion Watkins was named to the 2025 preseason All-CIAA team. What kind of player is he in the facility and in the meeting room, and what are your expectations for him this season?
Well, like in everything, you're just looking for growth and maturity. And you're expecting him to see the game a little faster, play a little faster, and continue to have success on the field. I've watched him grow from his freshman year, even in seeing the way he hustled, not just to get sacks, but getting downfield to make plays. So passionate player, and wants him to continue to bring that passion to the game and be a difference maker. He wants his number called when we're in crunch time and in the games, and we play quite a few tight games. So he wants his number called, and you want players like that that want to shine at the right time.
And then moving on broader to different sides of the ball. So what is the personality of the offense this year? Is it run heavy? Are you guys air raid?
Oh, man, it's Cavers. It's the Cavers offense. And I'm excited for Coach Cavers and him getting his shot to make calls. And we are a take what you give us offense. So we work on everything. But so that way we're prepared for what the defense gives us, and we want to manage that. So not so much as trying to be one-dimensional, run, one-dimensional pass. The game is a balanced game. And if you look back 15 years ago when they removed the running back and took 10 carries away from them because they were going to throw 10 more passes. you can see where the future of this game goes. And as you can see, especially with the way the sports betting and that goes, it's about points and it's about scoring. So you have to have a balance in terms of what works for you. And we kind of recruit in those areas to try to build upon that in terms of the schemes we run. And so we're pretty excited about what we get ready to do this year.
And does the same go for your defense? Are you going to take what you give them?
Well, the defense is a different animal. You know, it's about not allowing you to breathe. You know, it's about suffocating. Our defense has been pretty decent. We finished top 25 in Division II, but we could have done it a lot better. You know, and once again, that's with being young, having young talent, guys not understanding the pressures of, you know, getting down on some of these third downs. We gave up too many big plays on some of the third downs and too many chunk plays that would have been a big difference maker for us, and would have allowed us to actually probably get into the top 10, and would have maybe made a difference too in field position. So we have those things to work on. And pressure, I tell all of my guys all the time, there's two ways you deal with pressure. You either feel it or you apply it.
At the CIAA Media Day about two weeks ago, your squad was projected a 7th place finish behind Virginia Union, Johnson C. Smith, Virginia State, Fayetteville State, Winston-Salem State, and Bowie State. Also at Media Day, you said rankings are just numbers on paper. What matters is how we show up every day, on the field, in the film room, and in the weight room. This team is hungry, focused, and ready to prove that we're more than a 7th place prediction. We're building something special at Livingstone, and we're coming to compete. So is the projection bulletin board material, disrespect, or just outside noise?
Man, like always, it's just outside noise. You can't get caught up in any of that. Like, what you do speaks so well, and we want to be doers. And you can be number one today and in the bottom of the list tomorrow. So for us, we don't focus on any of that. Our biggest opponent that we will play this year will be Livingstone College, and that means we have to overcome our weaknesses, and we have to master our strengths, and we have to come ready to play every week.
Speaking of Livingstone College, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what do people say when they talk about the Sean Gilbert era here at Livingstone College?
That will be up for the people to say. You know, your body of work has to speak for itself, and you know, you have to work and give everything you have, and then let the opinions be that, and let the facts speak that.
As most coaches are, you're a former player yourself, as the 3rd overall pick to the Los Angeles Rams from Pitt in the 1992 NFL Draft.
Long time ago, huh? How old are you?
I'm 21. My dad was in high school at that time.
Your dad was in high school?
Yeah, he played here. Yes, sir.
Wow.
But not too long ago.
Right.
So what do you feel was your greatest lesson as a player, and is there anyone on your squad who reminds you of yourself?
There's no one on my squad that reminds me of myself, and it's no brag, but I mean, I'm 6'6", 320 pounds. I ran a 4.5 40. I mean, so there's no one that reminds me of that guy. But what was the first part you asked?
I said, so what do you feel was your greatest lesson as a player?
Greatest lesson as a player is that never allow any success you have be the measuring stick until you're done playing. So stay humble and hungry.
And going back to the transfer portal a little bit, if you had the opportunity to transfer out of Pitt, would you have?
I think that's a demand thing. You know, I came out of high school, I was the #1 defensive player in the country. So my choices were Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, Pitt, and Michigan State were the 5 schools that I chose to take visits. I went to Ohio State, loved it. Notre Dame, loved it. Pitt was just right there and not far. And I'm a hometown boy, and it was only 18 miles from me. And they were doing amazing things, and I think it fit the mold for where I come from in terms of opportunity. And so I'm really grateful for being sought out, and I'm glad that hard work paid off. I never relied on size. I always believe I come from very little, I should say. And so not having anything makes you hungry. And so my mentality hasn't really changed from that or any success I've had. Money shouldn't change your attitude. It should humble you, if anything, and have an opportunity to make good resources. And so, I'm just grateful. I think that at the end of the day, if a team wanted you, they probably have to put that bread up, and it'd have to be worth it for you to go there too. I think you got to look at where you thrive, and everything can't necessarily be about the money, even though you are in the business. So, you got to look at all of those things.
And you talked about a lot of these phenomenal outfits you had as the #1 defensive player coming out of high school. So is that what sealed the deal for you, Pitt being kind of a hometown school?
Probably just, when it's close, it's close. If it's a great school and it's close, if I probably was in Louisiana, LSU probably would have been the school because you're close. If I'm in Alabama, they probably would have been the school. I had offers from every school in the country. But I wasn't a kid who traveled. I knew nothing about UCLA, and that's an amazing school. Cal, Stanford, those are amazing schools. So Midwest schools, Missouri, Wyoming, I knew nothing about them. So to travel into those arenas was probably a bit far for me to see myself playing. And Pitt just was at a really good place. And Pitt's a phenomenal school in terms of players that get opportunities to play on the next level. And we had a pretty good coaching staff there with Paul Hackett, John Gruden, Marvin Lewis, Sal Sinceri. And these are all guys that have coached in the pros and coached SEC and FBS football. So you can imagine the talent that we had in terms of coachings that allowed us to, as players, to excel. When I came out, we had 9 players get drafted. So it was a great school for me to go to, and it prevailed for me. I wound up being the 3rd overall pick.
And speaking of traveling, did you ever consider HBCUs?
I got to tell you that had they been presented, because they were really not put on the table, because I was a top player. So I think most HBCUs don't even want to look at trying to compete with you talking about FBS schools, but you never know. Me, I'm a little, I'm a city Negro and a country boy, so there's no telling which way that would have turned, especially. But it was probably better that I didn't go to a HBCU. I was a wild dude back in the day. I was a wild dude.
So you needed some guardrails.
Man, listen, how high?
Not too
how high, Brock? I'm telling you, I'm grateful. I have some hard lessons in there to learn, and I think that's why I don't spend time. I don't think more highly of myself than I should. I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to do what I do, and having a passion to express that and share with young brothers so that they can kind of find their place in society and use football as a tool. And I tell my guys that it's not who you are, it's something that you do. And so, and you're doing it for a little while, and there's gonna come a time where it's not gonna be there for you. So, use it to channel displaced aggression, build your own throne, make your name known, and then let it allow you to build, to gain relationships, so that it opens other doors of opportunities. You may meet a guy and see a guy here, and where you may be sitting in 2 years, you remember that guy and he has an interest in broadcasting, and you liked his energy, and you say, I want to bring this guy in to intern. The sports business is so much bigger than being on the field. There's just a lot that goes into the creativity of making a player worthwhile watching, along with his efforts in terms of what he brings to the table and being a pretty good athlete.
And you talked about the sports business, how big it is. So have you ever considered going back to the Division I and or Power 5?
I would love the opportunities, but that's what you use these opportunities to do. You have to show that you grow in the building programs, and show that you can be competitive, and then you let other opportunities present themselves. We don't chase or pursue them. We just, you do your work. It's like a man, you put your hands to the plow and you keep your head down, and you let opportunity present itself. So we're just gonna stay humble and hungry, keep our head down, and keep grinding.
Okay, and then last question, my favorite question. Is there anything you want to say? Anything you feel like I missed? The floor is yours.
Who you with? LC.
LC. Y'all listen, y'all heard it right here. Again, this is Ms. Good News. Y'all make sure y'all stay locked in online at WLJZ1071.com or right on your stereo 1071 FM, 107.1 FM. Y'all heard it here, and we are out.